Hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Pondcast. I'm Anthony. We're here with Kevin Minto. Say hi, Kevin. Say hi, Kevin.
Hey guys.
Say goodnight, Kevin. Say goodnight, Kevin.
Good night, guys. Good night, guys. Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
You're supposed to say
goodbye, Kevin. Good night, Kevin.
Is it?
From Home Alone.
I was quoted how it was good night, Kevin.
It is supposed to say that.
I can't even get through the opening without going on a tangent about a John Hughes film. John Hughes in particular.
We have to talk about that movie afterwards.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's very proud. He's leaning back and showing off his chest. He has a Japanese turtle shirt on. Very cool, Kev. Nice. Good work. I know what that face is. And he's the only with us. Christopher, say hello.
Hello. Hi. Welcome.
Goodbye, Christopher.
No, Christopher. T. Leone. Confused with Pure Leone, my last name. We're definitely related down the line somewhere.
Some way.
A little bit of.
They just chopped the ear off in Drill's Island.
You know what happened, my dad?
They said these guys are too short last name. That's what it was. Did you get it? See what I did there? Call it. That was important. So it's all right. Well, we're very excited to have a very special guest with us tonight. Zach Braswell.
Hey.
Welcome to the Pondcast, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve is working on echo right now. In case you're hearing an echo, I want to leave with that. So the last couple, we moved to the new platform. We were on Google Hangouts. We moved to a new platform via Skype, and it's been working really well. We're having these great conversations, and then realizing that what's being played back to the audience is not necessarily the best product that we want to be putting out there. So we're really working on fixing that. And that's one of the big changes you'll see today on the podcast. You'll notice that Steve is not here with us in terms of what you're seeing visually. Steve is behind the scenes trying to make things better in terms of the quality of what you guys are seeing at home. And Chris is taking over as kind of the second host to work with me, but we still have a team, so in case someone can't make it, that sort of thing, we're all here for you. We will be here the first Monday of every month, and hopefully we can figure out this quality stuff. Steve's working on it right now. I could actually see him. You guys can't see him, but I can see him. He's working very feverishly.
Everybody says it's good now.
He's moving quick. Well, they said it was me. Am I still echoing, or am I good? How we doing?
You sound horrible.
Oh, do I?
Yeah. I got echo is gone, much better.
I'm good. See, I'm good.
Yeah.
You have something on your face.
I sound great.
You have something on your face.
This?
Yeah. Oh, yes. It was your headphones. I thought it was something different.
No, it's my headphones. I blew a speaker.
I'm embarrassed.
Chris, I'm gonna get you some Bluetooth headphones, man.
I know.
I'll bring some.
I'm gonna have like a real microphone here next time. You know.
All right.
I'm wearing headphones. Kevin didn't offer me anything.
I've given you headphones already. You did something with mine already.
So does he break on the way he breaks cell phones?
I'm sorry?
Does he break on the way he breaks cell phones?
So we have somebody on the show who has 1,000 tortoises, and now Kevin wants to give stuff away. What's up with that?
What?
I'm just kidding. Kevin actually stopped at my house today when he was driving through to drop off cell phone related items to me. So I'm just kidding. Everyone knows I have to make fun of Kevin just because he's Kevin. But Zach, you had a question. You want to know if you were sounding all right?
Yeah, do I sound echoey?
I think you sound lovely.
Thank you.
That sounds great.
That's what
Zach, you have a very nice voice.
Crisp and clear.
Steve was just doing a test. Okay. Sounds good. So Zach, we're happy to have you here. How you feeling? Nervous? Little.
Not too bad. I've done public speaking before. Not too much, but a little bit.
All right. Just what I try to just don't look at Kevin's face because it really makes it difficult. I try to just stare.
I'm tough to look at. I get it.
If he's in my bottom right hand corner, I'm staring up at my top left, and that's where you are. So I'm good with that.
What was that type specimen thing?
You're the type specimen for humans, like average size, white male. 2 daughters, balding.
No, I'm not balding. I'm bald. This is gone.
Yeah, no, it's not totally. You're not Mr. Clean Bald.
Hopefully soon.
Wait, is that natural or do you shave it?
So I have a straight up Costanza going on if I wait 3 days.
Yeah,
So
Great!
I shave it in the shower every day.
Okay.
Costanza, that's fantastic, man. Well, there's your Halloween costume if you want.
I'm going to send you some photos in a little bit that's going to blow your mind.
Okay, you prove it.
You know
would
what?
need to.
Steve, can I send you a picture and you can put it on air?
Don't talk to Steve. He's not actually there. Nobody can see him.
Sorry.
Just doing it out of
He's
habit.
always with us, even in spirit.
Even in spirit.
Yep.
Speaking of spirit, my lighting is ominous.
Hey, we have
What are you? You going to a question already?
No, we got Greg's Turtle Haven on. He's open. I think he's still in Thailand. So that's pretty awesome. We got visitors from all over the world right now.
No kidding.
Oh, man. Turtle pimping all over the world.
What time is it in Thailand?
That's a good question. Ask him.
I don't know. We also have Adventure 845. 7 a.m. in Thailand. And Adventure 845 and Adventure 846 is here.
Oh.
So, first of all, I want to thank Zach for waiting patiently right now, staring at us and thinking, what the heck are these guys doing? That's number one. But before we move on to Zach, we were just talking about Steve, who, again, is behind the scenes right now. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Wizard of Oz reference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Proud of that one.
As many movie references as we can before the end of this. Steve has really played an important role on the Pondcast, our podcast, and has we kind of brought him on, and I just wanted to talk for a second to bring this one in because it's kind of and it's a good one to do it because we have one of our own on, Zach, who is a member of the Turtle Room. You see him with the Turtle Room T-shirt on right now. And the podcast is something that we're very proud of, but we've been having some struggles with lately, so we're trying to work through it, as I mentioned. And just to talk about the history of it for a second. So it started off, John and I, the first time that we did a podcast, we recorded it in my basement together, and then episode 2 through 4 were recorded in a Toyota Tercel parked in a commuter lot off the highway.
Did the police come?
No, it was great. It's hilarious because I'm 6'8", he's 6'9", and we're sitting there in this little car, this little hoopty of a car that was his girlfriend's at the time. She's now his wife. So we, John and I kind of started it, and somewhere around episode 9, I think we went to the video platform, and we asked Steve to come on because Steve is a whiz at anything technical. At anything, right? Anything. And he really helped us a lot. And we ended up having Amanda on for several episodes as a third host, but then John couldn't make it all the time with changes at work, and then Amanda couldn't make it all the time. And it ended up being Steve and I for a while. And he really stepped up and became a really good host of the show. And then we ended up adding Kevin to kind of help with things, and we're developing and figuring things out as we go. But now with the new platform, it's become really, really difficult to kind of make everything work. And if you've watched any of the recent episodes, you've seen the echoes and stuff like that. It's been really, really frustrating and annoying for us. And so that's the reason for the new change. And we're really excited to have Chris on. And Chris is the Steve Martin. What Steve Martin is to SNL is what Chris is to the Pondcast. So I don't know if that's something that you've looked at as a distinction in your life, Chris, or if you realize that we've had you on more than anyone. But I think for other guests,
there's been a few. Yeah,
I feel like maybe Ralph. I can't remember if Ralph's been on twice or 3 times.
I know he was on video once. He was on a phone call once. That's 2 that I know of. I don't think he was video on one. I think just audio.
Okay.
No, we did one video when I went to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ralph's been on a couple times. We had Steve Rose on 2 or 3 times, but Chris has been on 6 times. So you're like the John Goodman, Steve Martin. Yeah, you've been on a lot. So anyway, really excited to have him here. We have really good dialogue. Not that you could tell from everyone just staring at me as I talk right now.
Oh, we're just giving you room and space.
Yeah, we're looking for. I need room and space.
I know.
I do. Did I ever tell you this story that when I was in college, I played basketball? Believe it or not, now people ask me if I play football, that's when you know you really let yourself go. You were a basketball player, but they're like, "Man, did you play? You a nose tackle?" Like, no.
They take a good look at you and they say, "Man, you either play football now or you're really into turtles."
You're really into buffets. Yeah. So your freshman year, when you don't have any stats yet, they would put like the coach's comments, and mine was just Anthony is a space eater. Everyone else's was so good. It's like, has great skills around the basket, and is a tremendous passer, and knows the game. Blah blah blah. I'm a space eater. Basically, this guy's here because he's huge.
It's a good superhero name.
Yeah, space eater.
Sounds like space eater, right?
Dude, why don't you call Jordan up, get on Space Jam 2.
Just rip my headphones out. Talking with my hands. Okay, so before we put Zach to sleep all the way, hi Zach, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm also okay. Not quite better than okay, but also okay. I'm
great. Thanks for asking.
Nobody asked you, Kevin.
Exactly.
What's the matter with you? You knew if you spoke up, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Gosh, get it together. Can you?
I think Steve has the picture, by the way. Yes, I am. Yep.
Yeah? Do you have any questions for Zach?
No? I have tons of questions for Zach, but I talk to Zach regularly.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Good. Thanks. So can I talk now, or are you going to interrupt me again?
Show's yours, pal.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So Zach, you do the social media work for the Turtle Room. So all those great posts that people are seeing, you do some of it, yeah. But you are intimately involved and have been doing it probably for the longest out of probably ever, right? Besides the rest of us who don't really do anything anymore and probably did.
How long was the last person that did it on that I took the place of?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Steve.
Okay.
Was that Amanda?
Yeah.
Is that Amanda?
I thought we weren't going to name drop, Kevin. Gosh. Just host or something. Get it together, man.
I regret going to your house today. You know that?
My wife was scared for her life when you showed up.
Yeah.
So who the hell is this George Costanza looking guy knocking on the door right now?
Mm-hmm.
The thick wallet.
Wait till that picture pops up. It's going to change the world.
Okay, we'll see. The picture
just your opinion of me, anyway.
Well, next time you drop by my house unannounced, wear some pants. She says this weird George Costanza guy in some boxer shirt outside trying to put stuff in the mailbox.
I can't drive with pants on, man. What am I supposed to do?
Connecticut. You guys are all weird in Connecticut.
So, oh, man!
What is that?
Wow! Can everybody see that?
What the hell is that?
A sad old man.
No, I was very young there, actually. That was a Halloween party.
Oh.
Or no, an ugly sweater party. Excuse me. Ugly sweater party.
Well, people can see this right now, right?
I don't know. I'm on live. I don't see it popping on the screen.
I really hope
no one can see it.
People really don't know what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Nobody can see it.
Terrific. Steve says he knows why. He gonna do it again.
Coming up soon, guys.
Is it? Stay tuned.
I don't know. Hopefully.
Can people see it now? Okay, for anyone who's not seeing, because we're good radio hosts, this is a picture of Kevin Minto dressed how I see him in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With the George Costanza haircut and an awesome mustache. Where'd you get the glasses? Where'd you get the Dwight Schrute glasses?
There we go. It's on the screen. Those were my father's. This is actually what my father looks like.
Is that mustache real?
I had a beard earlier on in the day.
Wow, man!
So I just shaved it down.
That's fantastic. That's authentic. That's moving.
There were many progressions through the night. It changed a lot throughout the night.
I've never loved you more.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
One thing, if you don't know about me already, guys, you've all seen me many times. I don't really get embarrassed by anything, so I just go for it to have fun.
That's why I mess with you, because
Yeah, I know.
I know. It's awesome. There's nothing better than a person who you can make fun of and they laugh with you. And that's who I try to be. And that's who you are, too. That's why I love you.
Steve, that picture's still on the screen if you want to take it off. There we go.
Starting to sweat.
I don't need screen grabs for the world to see, you know? I become a
awesome.
meme.
Wow. I want to have that as like my avatar photo on Facebook.
How about this?
I think
I'll put it on a canvas print and send it to you, okay?
Oh my gosh, can that be the turtle room? Like avatar on Facebook? Maybe just on like the first day of
April 1st, April Fools.
November. That is awesome. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to talk to Zach, and you guys keep messing me up.
This is all you, man. This is
not all me. This is not all me. I'm the only one trying. I am the only one trying to talk to
Zach. Can I ask you a question?
You may.
Yes.
How are you doing right now in this moment?
I already asked him that.
You asked how he's doing overall. I'm asking in this moment.
Who has seniority? Who do I answer?
Anthony, probably.
Place.
I'm the low man on the totem pole.
Anthony, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
You're doing well.
Thank you for recognizing the clowns in the room and who you should actually talk to. I love this.
Yeah, man, as long as you're having fun.
So we've been really pleased with what's been happening with the Turtle Room social media stuff. And it's an important job, and it's one that you have done really well. What do you think is your secret, or what are some of the tools of the trade that have been helpful for you?
So, I guess I've always really liked education and educating people. And I guess most of the things that I try and touch on, I guess more frequently, are problems that I've seen often within the hobby, or that I'm asked at work. I'm an aquarist, and I service a few turtle tanks, and people ask me, why does this turtle have a sword? Or, can turtles hear me? What do turtles eat? Are there different kinds of turtles? Can this turtle swim? I've gone to houses, and there's been a 40-gallon breeder filled with water, and there's a baby sulcata treading for its life. So the difference between, a turtle and a tortoise, those kind of things. And then there are other things that I like to touch on that are more in-depth. The things that, honestly, when I'm writing the post and I'm doing research, I'm learning. The specifics, the fine details, the wavelength of ultraviolet light that needs to penetrate the skin to be able to convert provitamin D into bioavailable vitamin D, those kind of things, little nitpicky things that I like to learn. No one else on earth may like to learn that. But I think it's cool, and I also like to touch on the kind of basic stuff. And I like to do a broad spectrum as well. I learn just as much as I hope anyone else is.
Well, I think that's important. What you said right there is that you like to learn. Okay, so that's so important for social media because your need and want to learn and your interest in learning is being filtered out. To the public. That's what people are getting. And earlier tonight, before we got started here, we started to touch a little bit on this, and I wanted to actually target a few of the specific social media posts that you've done for us. And this all starts with, like Anthony said, this is a big deal. It's a big job. Everything is social media now. Okay, everything. You screw up once, the whole world knows. You want to put the right information out there. You want to look like a hero. The whole thing. So, what's great is that we're doing a little bit of everything with the social media here, but some of your posts in particular are really just kind of spelling out education to people, and that's great because you could put a colorful or cute animal in your hand, whether it's a baby turtle or a salamander or whatever it is, and you don't have to say a word. You just post it. And you're going to get 2, 3, 4,000 likes. Nobody stops to think about what it is. Even if you put it in the hashtag baby sulcata tortoise, whatever. People are still, oh my gosh, what kind of turtle is that? You know, if they even take the time to say that. But you're getting that like, you're getting that share. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. But there's still so much outdated information out there. So many people still saying who, what, where, why, how, when, because nobody's taking the time to read. But what's great is some of these posts are actually drawing people in. And I also think it's some of the images that you're choosing. One of them was the turtles giving back, okay, with the shells, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're scrolling down and all of a sudden you see, you know, a part of a turtle shell. And now, you know, you've got one side of the fence that might be like, oh my God, what happened to that turtle? And, you know, you're so terrible. What did you do to it maybe? Okay. But a lot of people, myself, stop to read that. Okay. And it's great. It's awesome. You know, people are taking away from that when these animals die. You know, it's kind of like the Lion King thing with the, you know, the antelope eat the grass. You know, when a lion dies, it becomes the grass. The turtle's shell, important part of, you know, calcium, a squirrel's chewing on it, another animal is chewing on it, and even turtles do that, or tortoises do that in a certain sense. You know, a lot of European tortoises, and I'm sure other types of tortoises, they come across the discarded bone of something, or even a snail shell, they're eating it. They're getting their calcium from there. So it's that, you know, cycle that's going on there. And this is the kind of stuff that's important for people to know. And even with the nitrogen cycle one that you did, okay? This kind of stuff that when you really, you know, enter into keeping any kind of animal, a lot of people don't stop to write that stuff down first. Okay. Oh, I grabbed a book. Well, when was that book written? 1956?
Right, yeah.
You know, before we even knew that there were X amount of subspecies of this or, you know. So my whole takeaway from that is it's so important. Just take 2 seconds. You're already on social media. You're already scrolling. Okay. Step away from the look at my baby turtle, even though I'm guilty of those posts too, and read posts like this because they're great. You know, the phylogenetic niche conservatism one that you did too. Okay, you tell us what that is.
Phylogenetic niche conservatism?
If anybody didn't read that, maybe they'll take it away from this. They're watching you say it. You know,
nerd alert.
There you go.
In a good way. Yeah, I mean that as a compliment.
Don't get me going on opera. So phylogenetic, right? Let's break it down, like genetic tree, whatever, how it all works. Niche means small, pinpointed. Conservatism, conservative, so it's contained. It's, I guess, also pinpointed in a way. Mm-hmm. Unchanging, it's unvaried, right? So if you have a population of anything really, humans, right? You can use humans as an example. People in, I believe it's either Sweden or Norway or Finland, one of those countries up there, they have the most blue eyes of any country on Earth. Like, the majority of the population has blue eyes, and it's because all of their ancestors had blue eyes, right? They've just had blue eyes, and 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 it's just been passed down. If you look at the presence of lactose and lactase in not only the community, but in the population of humans themselves. So in, I don't want to stereotype, but so Chinese culture or Asian culture, they don't really drink that much milk. Or they do drink milk, but they don't eat cheese because cheese is spoiled milk, right? And they don't really drink much milk either. They never really had the whole dairy thing. But if you look at Europeans, they have relied on milk since the dawn of time. And in their gut, they have the enzyme lactase. And that enables them to be able to break down milk products and use it and not become violently ill from doing that. And turtles and tortoises do that too. If you have a small population of, like we had the Sonorensis, like the Sonoran musk turtle.
Mm-hmm.
They look and act similar, and they have a small niche, and most of them, if not all of them, have incredibly similar features because they have been so isolated to that small part of river for so long that their genetics are incredibly close and don't vary that much.
Right.
Traits shared within a population.
So,
that was really long. I'm very sorry.
No. It's good. It's good. This is the kind of stuff that people need to know. So what you're basically, to put it in layman's terms, basically what you're talking about is a group of animals that have, passed on specific traits, right, to their offspring basically in a given location. So it's almost like a locality thing, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that kind of stuff is and should be interesting to any kind of animal keeper. You know what I mean? Or if you don't have to actually keep them. Let me start there. You could just be researching them in the field, and that's something that really hit me because I'm someone who is completely invested in, mentally and physically and every other aspect into why these animals look this way from here and why these animals look this way from there. And, Steve will tell you all the time, like, I'm trying to, because even with like the genetic stuff that I've done, I'm still learning because we're all still learning. And there's a million things I don't understand. And I'll get on the phone with Steve and I'll be like, can you tell me what the hell this means? And it's because I'm so desperate to understand why. And back in 2015, I did some genetic work with the genetics department out in the Henry Dorley Zoo. And I asked a question similar to that. I said, is it stupid that that we don't really understand why, certain things are happening? She said to me, no, it's really not. It's not. It's the point of learning. So that brings me back to the initial thing that I was trying to say here is that what these educational posts are so important. And it doesn't matter if the social media group that you're following is turtles or bears or a clean way of cooking or, you're being an aquarist, whatever. You know what I mean? It's people need to take 2 steps back and just stop and read because you should do it every day. You might take something away from that, and it goes a long way from just looking at a picture of an animal or a marble or something in somebody's hand, So
it's easier said than done though, right? Because the Turtle Room has how many followers on Facebook? 23,000?
Oh, it's 30 something, right?
Is it 30?
On Instagram, it's 31.7. I don't know about Facebook.
31,000 on Instagram?
Yeah, we're getting real numbers. Stand by. We're getting real numbers. 22,000. 22,000 on Bookface. Look at that.
Yeah. So, but my point being, so whether it's 31 on Instagram or 22 on Facebook, it's a good amount of followers. Not to pat us on
10,000 there.
Who said 10,000? You? That might be YouTube.
Yeah.
Some people don't use Facebook because they don't like all the rants.
Aha. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a question from the chat.
I was saying something.
Sorry.
It's not time for Minto's mailbag yet.
God, Minto's mailbag? Jeez.
It's actually for you, Anthony. So
that's what we were going to call it.
Coin that. I think I just spoiled that.
I like that one. I like that. Time for Minto's mailbag. I'm going to play it the same way every time. It's going to be great. But what I was saying is, before I was rudely interrupted for like a third time on this Pondcast by George Costanza over there, is... I'm so sorry. I love Kevin Minto so much. I sound like I hate you, and I just love you so much. And I'm not being sarcastic. Anyway, I really do, like a lot. But I just think it's
feelings mutual, buddy.
If we have a riff on the show, I feel like it does better. People enjoy a bully and want to see them lose. Mm-hmm. So root for me to lose. So when you have that many people subscribing, it's easier than to do the educational posts that we're talking about. Because when you're just starting out and you try to make educational posts and you put all this time into it, it's the same thing with the videos on YouTube. They just get less traction. And it's unfortunate because that's the good content that you want people to see, but people aren't looking for that. And Chris, with all of your followers, you put up a picture of the hatchling diamondback terrapin or the hatchling box turtle or tortoise or whatever, and people are just drooling over it and sharing it like crazy.
Yeah, so cute. That one picture of that baby diamondback hatching in, when I'm like holding it like this or whatever, that picture got shared so many times I'm talking on, like, I think Nat Geo shared it, Discovery shared it, but none of them put anything educational behind it, and I don't even think they put the species behind it. One big account, it may have been Discovery or something. They said, baby tortoise hatchling. What do you think of this? Okay, and it's sad. You know what I mean? It's we're at a time now where everybody's got these things in their hand all the time. Okay, and what are we really learning from it? Unless we take the time to repost, like what Zach's doing. And he's sitting there, he's taking his, whether you're typing this up real quick or it's just coming to you, that doesn't matter. The fact of the matter remains, you're putting this out there for people, and it's stuff that really needs to be absorbed. And I mean, exercise your brain. You know what I mean? Put down, somebody say something else. I'm getting mad.
Sometimes for me, like, so we'll post a cute baby turtle picture, right? And it'll just be, maybe when I have a horribly long day, it'll just be a happy Monday, here's a cute turtle,
Yeah.
And then I'll spend 2 hours on another post on something that could actually change the life or many lives of captive animals or even animals in the wild, and it gets 40 likes.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I don't know. It can be challenging sometimes.
It is. It's a science, and there's like an art to it.
But then it is, and it always shocks me. Sometimes I'll post something, and from my personal perspective, I would be like, "Wow, that's really cool." Even I think that's really cool. I learned something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then it gets 7 shares because it's not cute or it's not quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed with social media, you go from, so the first one from when I was around, it was MySpace, right? You had your whole page.
Oh yeah.
Your page. Bring it back, whatever. It was a whole page you could design. And then we go to Facebook, which is a whole page, but it's less. It's not as in-depth.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Instagram, which is a picture plus a caption. And then we have Twitter, which is sometimes a picture, and then only 3 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's 280 characters. It's like, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yep.
And for me on Twitter, it's really difficult for me to be able to educate because I only have 280 characters.
Yeah.
What can you really say in that?
Yeah, and it's true. Like, you can lose people, depending on what you're trying to say, and again, that's unfortunate, but you can see why. If there's that much being written there, like, the attention span of our species is probably comparative to a goldfish at this point, which is, what is that, 6 seconds, so, or something like that. But there's again, like, an art to it. You could use a photo of a cute baby turtle, and put something behind it, which you do. You know what I mean? I do that. A lot of people do that, or some kind of moving quote maybe. But some of the fun things that you've done is like the name that species. Okay, you're drawing people in. You're attracting them by let's play a game. Okay, and you put up an obscure photo of something, whatever species it is, and you get people to guess. And sometimes you get people arguing, but that's you can't do anything about that. But the point is, there's a way to learn. Everybody should be open to learning, and everybody is still learning. All of us are uppers. The people that we look up to that are we just lost the greatest name in turtle conservation ever. We just lost Dr. Peter Pritchard, and he was still learning. And he wouldn't be afraid to admit that, and that's okay. But take the time and absorb something is basically where I was going with that whole rant. Would you like to say something, Anthony?
Thanks for bringing that up. I should have led with that, but we've got so much going on with the show that I was kind of worried about how we were going to kick things off, sort of thing. But absolutely, thank you for bringing up Dr. Pritchard. And such a huge loss, but obviously his work will not be forgotten. So thanks for bringing that up, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I it's that was a
That was a really sad day.
Yeah, it was a sad day. Yeah, thank you for saying that. I didn't know where to go with it, but it was, and there was an outpour from everybody, all over the world. That all the people that he touched all of us. You know what I mean? In one way or another, with just growing up on his books and the shows and the documentaries and everything. We all wanted to be him, and I think he would definitely be proud of some of us. And so to Dr. Pritchard, thank you.
Well said. Kevin, you said you had a question.
Yeah, it was from Hoosier Tort. I don't know if I'm saying that. Hoosier Tort. It's like that's a basketball movie, right?
Hoosier Tort?
Hoosiers?
Hoosier Tort?
Is that a planned word? Hoosier Tort?
Who's your tort? Who's your tort? My tort. Like who's your tort? My tort.
It's a Indianapolis thing.
So anyway, going back to
Indiana
it was back when we were talking about locales and how genetic changes and whatnot. But he said, how does this affect species like the reeves that were transplanted to Japan? New environment change causes genes to show up within the same species, different genes. Like you have the Japanese reeves that get way bigger than Chinese reeves.
A species that's been introduced by man somewhere that evolves.
Yeah.
Look a certain. Well, yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of examples of that.
In a short period.
Yeah. So the reeves were introduced to Japan I don't know. I've heard 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago. I'm actually trying to figure that out right now for a paper that I'm writing. But they were introduced, and there's different new introduced locales within Japan. So there's still a lot of variation there. But generally speaking, which anytime we speak in generalizations, it's a risky thing, a dangerous thing. But generally speaking, Japanese reeves are thought to be larger, to grow larger, and to be a darker color. So if you look at some of the research that was happening before the turn of the century, Dr. Pritchard is one who reported these larger animals from Japan and the darker coloration and stuff like that. And they're black, even the females are black, which is really cool. The males of all localities become totally black, melanistic as they age. But it was published somewhere just after the turn of the century that the Japanese locale was actually introduced. I feel like it was actually 2000. I don't want to make up the year. Maybe somewhere around 2011, but I'm just pulling that number out of where. So, so I don't know. I don't know what would contribute to that. We could come up with some our own hypothesis here for what we think that is, and obviously Zach is bright and could take a crack at it too, but I wonder if it just happens to be the animals that were brought there, the conditions that they're in, and or some combination of those and other factors.
I don't know. Sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah. I kind of feel it may have just been the animals that were brought there. May have just been bigger, and then the bottlenecking that would have happened genetically would have just made bigger animals and kept bigger animals. I could be completely wrong. It could be the colder winters, bigger animals helps them get through it. The smaller ones died. I don't know, but it could be a ton of things.
The main thing to keep in mind is that humans accelerate the evolution process.
Yeah.
Whether we're breeding our wolves to eventually look like pugs, or we're running over every squirrel we come in contact with until 100 years later, squirrels are completely different than they were in the 19th century. We accelerate the evolution process and obviously accelerate the extinction process as well in several cases.
Well,
so I think it kind of just comes down to that.
What's interesting about this too is we talk about introduced animals, and everybody's trying to think about how this happened or when it happened, and one of the things that the minute you guys said that about the reeves, was the Hermann's tortoises found on the island of Mallorca. They were introduced over 3,000 years ago. We know that, but they've evolved to form such a specific looking local form there that they're actually, even though they're the introduced ones, they are one of the ones that stand out so much that, when you talk to other testudo enthusiasts, or especially Herman's tortoise lovers, you can pick out a Mallorcan tortoise like that, and I guarantee you, if we were to sit here right now and educate people on what to look for on that tortoise, it would become like, oh wow, you know what, I see it. Is even for me, I get challenged all the time to, these testudo species are always throwing everybody for a loop, even me. But there are specifics about those animals, but unlike the reeves that are said to be, like, maybe you're right, maybe they were larger to begin with, or maybe they are getting larger there because of certain environmental factors, and now they've evolved to be this way. The island of Mallorca is an island, but there's no island gigantism. Is that what we call it? The island rule or whatever there, where, animals are usually said to be larger on islands. And you've got some of the other islands where these tortoises are found where they are remarkably huge, but not on that island. They're the total opposite end of the spectrum, and they're some of the smallest.
Now,
so it's
Chris,
yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say in this factor here, that's just locality, right? It's not a subspecies. There's no genetic difference.
That is the Western subspecies. They belong to a certain haplotype, which is H3, and it's called. And their ancestors derive mostly from continental Spain, But, the Europeans and everybody traded tortoises all back then. So who knows who, what, where, when, why, and how it all started there. But, they are the Western subspecies, and they have a certain tie to a certain haplotype. But like these reeves, they're remarkable. And they particularly stand out.
So at what point do genetic changes actually start happening? Because if you look at, say, Galapagos, right? Galapagos tortoises, they went to the Galapagos Islands, and then they started factoring off into different islands, from there. Yeah. And then eventually the genetic changes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, like Zach was saying with the bottleneck, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint some of the stuff.
If I can just, for a moment, I'm getting an echo now.
What?
I'm getting an echo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was just echoing pretty bad.
Okay. So I want to bring a new segment, and I want to remind everyone here who our guest is. And although I love Chris, he is used to being a guest on here, so so forgive him if he starts talking about Herman's tortoises.
You're just mad because everybody keeps interrupting you.
No, we used to do fake scouting reports for my teammates in college, and it would be like, could be distracted by opportunities to eat junior bacon cheeseburgers, or thanks, Kev, that was great. Could be that was awesome.
Sorry.
Could be distracted by opportunities to talk about Herman's tortoises. Would be your scouting report, Chris, in case anyone ever wants to just make him drop everything. So
you're welcome.
A new segment that we talked about is basically going to be the getting to know you segment, and it's been 46 painstaking minutes, or however far into this we are, because I've been sitting here staring at my bucket of popcorn here.
Did you eat the whole thing already?
I ate half of it before we went live. I did. And now I'm staring at it, wanting to eat the rest, and it's not fresh anymore. Thanks a lot. But this is where we asked Zach, how'd you get your start? And let me share this. The Turtle Room, when it started in that Toyota Tercel, was supposed to be a reptile show. And then, how MSNBC and Fox News and all that is, you end up surrounding yourself with people who you agree with or share the same interests with, at the very least, in our case. So it ends up being about turtles all the time, and that's what our interest is, and that's unfortunate. Chris has a couple of iguanas that he's very excited about, but we want to talk to you, Zach, about kind of where you got your start, and also, the stuff that you're into, and it definitely does not have to be turtle-centric. So,
ready, set, go.
Okay, so I got my start in turtles 5 or 6 years ago. And it was when I was working at PetSmart, and I would go to feed the turtles mealworms, and I would see them sitting in a bucket of their own sick. And it made me very sad. And I started to research, and also my good friend Jenny, she was my manager at the time. She loved them more than anything. She has, I believe she still has a Russian. I'm not sure if she still does, though. But she loves tortoises and stuff, and then she got me on a kick, and then whenever there was a turtle or tortoise that would be surrendered, it was a lot of side necks, because they're not the nicest to each other or anything. They would come back and be surrendered, and then that's how I got my first turtle. His name is Jay-Z, Jenny Zach for short. And I still have him. He's really cool. He's an African side neck, Pelusius? Some kind of Pelusius. I don't know the actual species.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a beast, and he was named the cannibal because he ate a cooter.
Whoa!
So that was the funniest statement ever said on the podcast. Sorry, I had to. I almost fell over. Oh, that was good.
Don't mind him, folks.
So that kind of started it, and then I would go on YouTube, and then I found Camp Kennan, that guy.
Oh yeah.
And he ended up, he went to Chris's place, and then he went to the TSC, and then he actually ended up not introducing me, but I learned about the Turtle Survival Alliance through him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I instantly became a member. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard of. I love this. And I didn't even know they were that. They're the second most endangered vertebrate group on Earth. Like, I didn't know that. Nobody knows that.
So were turtles your first love then?
I think monitors were.
No kidding, really? Wow.
Yeah. Varanus, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I just needed to know that.
Loved from a Nile.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got rid of him real quick. I tried way too hard. He was not worth it. And
they're real vicious.
They are evil.
Yeah.
They are evil. I'm a conservationist, but that is one species I would not mind going extinct. They are so mean. Oh, they will eat and just. I tried so hard. Oh,
I love the brutal honesty right now.
Yeah.
Love it. Sorry to all lovers out there.
But the only monitor I have now is a Savannah. So, Savannah monitor. He's cool.
You ever messed with Ackies?
I have not. No. But I'd like to. I mean, they're dwarves, but I like the challenge. And I did snakes for a long time. So ever since I was little, I've always had 1,000 critters. We've got every non-venomous snake you can own, from retics to Burmese, boas. I've bred burms, ball pythons, colubrids, a lot of different monitors. Never bred any monitors. They're just too big.
What I love about this is I listen to reptile podcasts, and usually those folks are snake people. And when I'm listening, if they ever mention a tortoise, or they'll just mention a sulcata, like in passing, and I'm like, oh, I get all excited. So if there's any people out there that are like interested in turtles and other reptiles, like maybe they're getting real excited right now. So don't feel like we have to keep it turtle centric. I know I've said this several times now, but that's really cool. What about you?
It's really cool. I didn't know that about you. I didn't expect you to say monitors first. I thought you would have said, you wanted to talk to him about salamanders, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, he's into amphibians as well.
Yeah.
Everything caudata, anything salamander or newt is like, it gets me going. I love that. I love salamanders and dart frogs, Dendrobatidae. They're really cool. Tree frogs, Hyla, are really neat. Another thing, so Nathan Hayslip, he is the lead keeper at the Turtle Survival Center. He started off as like an amphibian guy. So when I go over there, we can talk about not only Colonia, but also Varanus. So monitors, right? He did tons of research on monitor intelligence. They're literally the training on that. And then he did a lot of amphibian stuff. And actually, when I was over there, he had some leftover amphibian stuff that he doesn't do anymore. He just doesn't have the time, he's got the TSC to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up giving me 3 of his old Dark Frog tanks. So I've got those set up with some Dark Frog species. So
That's awesome. What are you keeping now?
As far as what? Everything?
Across the board. List them. Let's go. Right down the line.
In alphabetical order, go.
I've got 1 female Hillary. So we'll start with turtles. Phrynops Hillary. She's about large. I don't know.
Good girl, yeah.
Really cool. I'm looking for a male. So if anybody has a male Hillary, I need a male Hillary.
I had one a couple of years ago. Sorry.
They're hard to get now. They're like, it's weird. They used to be.
Funny how that works with different species,
Yeah. So I've got a Hillary. I've got the Caracoma from y'all. So the 3 male, 3 female, and then 2 hatchlings. I've got the Pelusius, JZ. I've got Subrufa. She was another rescue.
So that's a West African helmeted turtle. Also,
that's a common.
Asian box turtles. Yep. Don't worry. I'll throw the comments out. That's what I always do, just in
I've got
case.
6 Flavos from Ray Farrell.
Chinese box turtles.
6 Animensis from TSC.
Nice.
1 dentata. I'm looking for a male. I've got 2 Crassicalis, both male. The female didn't make it.
Black horse turtle.
A couple of red-eared sliders outside.
Well, Zach, I got a question for you from from our buddy Jeremy Thompson. What species are you not keeping that you have your eye on? Minto's mailbag.
Minto's mailbag. We don't need to go down that road. Like, that's a toxic road.
I thought maybe.
Next time you got to do word association. First thing that comes to your mind,
Go. Cooter.
No, never been big on the cooters.
That really has happened.
We'll verify.
Best moment in the Pondcast history.
Yeah. Double entendre right there.
I love you guys.
I really like some Burmese stars. I really, really love them. I cannot afford them right now. They're so expensive. I would like to own and work with some radiateds too. I don't have any now. I did a little bit with them at Zoo Atlanta.
Okay, I'm going to
stop you right there. Right there. Good segue right there. Zach, where are you going soon?
Madagascar.
Why are you going to Madagascar?
So,
like the cartoon.
The Turtle Survival Alliance, the TSA, they managed a massive confiscation of 10,000, just under 10,000 radiated tortoises in the south of Madagascar. What year was that? Was that 2 or 3 years ago?
God, well, hasn't there been there's been more than one, no? Or are we still?
It was 10,000, and then they found 6,000 like a couple months later or something.
Gotcha.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
I think
I would guess that was 4 years ago. If I had to guess.
2018,
no.
It was after the Palawan forest turtle.
You're right.
Cuban Raquel latensis, which was 15.
Wasn't it like trailing that? 2017.
Anyways, but they've got tons and tons and tons of radiata over there that they can't release yet. They want to keep them, make them safe. And there have been a few people that have been kind of looking at potential release sites. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, maybe one of y'all know more than I do, radiata don't have any kind of subspecies or whatever, right? They're all just radiated, right? So it doesn't matter if you transplant a male to here, it's still the radiated tortoise. Mm-hmm. As far as whether that male will survive, I don't know. So they've got roughly 10,000 at the location that I'm going to in southern Madagascar, and twice a year They have a few carefully chosen people to go over there and help their facility do general health checks, counts, weights, measurements, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be going over there to help with that.
And when are you going?
I will leave here on leave Atlanta on April 3rd, and I will get there on April 5th.
So that's coming up quick, man. You got a month. Yeah.
Yep.
So what are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you a little bit of everything? Are you terrified? Yeah.
Have you got your shots?
Do what?
Have you gotten shots yet?
I'm actually going to my doctor tomorrow morning about that.
Awesome.
How long is that flight?
Do what?
How long is the flight?
That's the one thing I don't like to talk about. It's like 55 hours.
Wow.
Well, I have a 22-hour layover in Boston.
Okay.
A 22-hour layover in Boston?
Yeah, so...
Jeez, wow.
Just drive down south and hang out with me and Anthony for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Well,
We're 3 hours away.
Don't make him travel anymore. You guys go to him.
You guys got to meet me in Boston.
You show him a good time at the airport. Who wants to be stuck in an airport? Do they have a bar? Maybe I'll go.
I want to be stuck in the airport. You can come and see us and then see animals. If we go and see you, then you just see us.
He's going to see 10,000 radiated tortoises. I think he's good.
I may go to the Boston Aquarium. Jay Allen said that the Boston Aquarium was really nice, so I may see that.
It is cool.
It is nice. It is very nice. Very nice.
What do you know
from the Atlanta Aquarium? I don't know.
I used to play in Boston all the time.
You know, but...
I can't roll my eyes at you.
Yeah, that's all you do is roll your eyes at me.
Normally it's Kevin, but I'm happy you're here too.
So how are you going to be over there?
I will be over there. I fly out on the 18th. So I'll be over there for about 2 weeks.
Okay, cool.
So it takes 3 days to get to where we're going. And then I spend roughly a week down there, and then 3 days to go back to the airport in the north, and then I fly home.
Wow.
Now, Zach, this is a question from the chat, Minto's mailbag, as you guys keep saying it.
Thank you. He's getting there. He's getting there. He's getting there.
You need a paper clip that comes on with your head on the top.
I missed that.
Like a little Windows paper clip?
Yeah.
Can I help you with the message?
I have a really good like emoji thing of myself, so I'll send that up. We'll make that work for the next one.
Don't let it happen again, man. Say it from now on. No more chat. There's no chat. It's your mailbag. Let's be old school here. Okay?
You got it. All right, Minto's mailbag.
Can we do a version with the mustache?
Oh yeah, yeah. Grow that mustache.
Okay.
This is from Jeremy Thompson again. Will you have any time in the field, and if so, what do you want to see?
I believe we'll be going to a national park down there, and I will have 2 days. I actually ended up saving like $400 in flight fees, flying back 2 days after I'll technically be done with the radiated stuff. So I want to, the dream would be to see a Canixies in the wild and also a plowshare in the wild. I don't know if that will be possible, but those are the goals for sure.
Now, Madagascar has what, Zambiensis? I don't know how to say it.
No, they have. Oh,
that's right.
Jeremy, are you listening? Can you tell us what's found in Madagascar?
Yeah, I thought it was Zambensis.
Is it Zambensis? I thought it was.
I thought it was.
Domergui.
I knew it wasn't. Sorry, got excited.
Shut up, Chris.
But then, so at the
Way to prove me wrong, Chris.
At the end of my,
I invited this guy.
Wow, you guys are teaming up on me. Zach, continue talking, please.
Sorry. At the end, I'll have 2 days that I'll just get to do, I guess, kind of whatever I would like to do. And there's a national park that is a rainforest that I would love to go to.
Yeah.
It's like a 4-hour drive from the capital. So they have Urodaclactus, the leaf toe geckos.
Yeah.
Casted leaf toe geckos, the really big ones that like you can't even see. They're on a tree. There are the Indri lemurs there. I believe they also have the Darwin's orchid, but it won't be blooming now. It would have bloomed in the rainy season a couple of months. No. I believe it bloomed in September to December area, so that won't be in bloom. But it'd be cool to see the Darwin's orchid. It's a big white orchid. It's really pretty, and I believe it's. I don't know. I know there's a Darwin's moth. I don't know if that fertilizes it or that's from somewhere else in the world. But anyways.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, so I'd really like to see some really cool plants. I like plants. I like orchids a lot.
Go get some photos of some baobab trees. Those things are amazing.
Yeah, I want to see a lot of chameleons. They have some really cool chameleons too. Like the ones
that are endemic there.
I want to put a replica of a baobab in my yard. That'd be awesome. And just stare it. Just get weird, you know? It'd be awesome to have one. Fake one.
Just
now,
weird.
Could something like that, hypothetically, could something like that grow in your climate? You have for being in the Northeast, you have like a subtropical climate. For majority of the year.
I was in shorts and a t-shirt all day, and I will be all week probably. I don't know. I don't know anything about them, you know, if they could take, because we do get freezing, you know.
Mm-hmm. I need dry.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and we do get. I mean, we're dry here, but we when it rains, it's like, oh my god, you know.
Another the soil type. They live on pretty nutrient-less soil. There's nothing in the soil.
Maybe I can.
If you take back from Madagascar and you plant them here, they just burn up. There's too much nitrogen. The soil's too rich. They've evolved to live in soil with like nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Zach, you're multifaceted. I don't know anything about this stuff.
I like plants a lot. I think they're really cool.
Hey, you also like, you said you like to cook, so is there anything you're like excited to eat over there or try?
No.
Okay.
I have been warned.
Sweet, I like it.
Don't try weird things. Yeah. Only fruit that has not been peeled. Don't eat any red meat.
And why is that? Is it like a?
Because it may be dog.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Really
I would eat dog.
I'm adventurous. I'm not going to do
eat dog.
I think I would. Like it just depends on what it tastes like.
Yeah.
You don't know until you try it. Yeah.
Tastes like
I'm not a bad person.
I mean, that's fine.
I'm not a bad person. I
Anthony, would you eat human meat if it tasted amazing?
I think it depends on who we'd be eating.
What? Yeah, it really depends on who.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would eat one of you guys, but, you know, in Madagascar, like some random person who, like, died of dysentery, you know?
Even if like, it's out of them?
You guys I would eat. I would just cry. I would just cry and keep shoveling it in like I do anyway at dinner.
Yeah. Well.
That wasn't funny?
Seriously? No, I want to laugh. I'm afraid to, though.
Is there an echo? Did you not hear that? I thought that was Rich.
No, we heard it. We heard it.
All right. Whatever.
Well, no.
There's a knock at the door. I think it's the local police.
You know, saving radiated tortoises, cannibalism, it's all the same.
It's funny how fine the line is between those two things. You're right. Just saying. Minto's texting somebody.
I had a, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Did you have something in your mailbag, Minto?
No, this was a personal thing that I needed to respond to.
Somebody out there like to ask a question so we could test Minto again, see if he gets it right?
Yeah, so this is not a question, but Anthony,
where's it coming from?
One neat book from. It's coming from Minto's mailbag.
All right. Yes, did it, and he delivered it. He looked right at the camera. Look at that. Look at his teeth.
Here, hold on. I got you. Give me one moment here.
Wink after you say.
Take your time.
Yeah, you gotta do a wink. You see, listen to Zach. All right, that was.
I feel like there should be a guitar riff, like "Meow."
Yeah.
Leads the way.
I'm going off screen for a moment.
What? Where's your mailbag? It should be right next to you.
Minto's mailbag.
He said he was gonna say something. He just did it.
Here we go. Hold on.
What is happening?
Oh god. Oh no way.
Minto's mailbag.
Oh, it's all white.
Yeah, I don't know what to do for that. Minto's mailbag. Oh, it's even worse.
Oh, I like that.
We'll plan better next time.
I like when you rolled off the screen and then set it in the corner like we couldn't hear.
Yeah, I know. I should have muted it like an idiot.
Yeah. Right.
So, Anthony, in the bookshelf behind you, what is the most interesting book you have there? Or one neat book from the shelves behind you?
Ooh, good question. Who wrote that?
That was Jeremy Thompson. He is coming correct tonight.
He's on it. He's not messing around. I have Luis Agassi's North American Turtles books from 1857.
It's beautiful, that book.
Yeah, they're terrific, and they're in like amazing shape. They look like they're new. Chris has some Testudo books. Congratulations.
No, they're not. They're from. No, they're actually not Testudo books. The British Colonia Group sent me about 8,000 of these journals, and it's called Testudo, but like, you know, this one's on pancake tortoises, this one's on sea turtles, this one's on sea turtles, this one's on sea turtles. You know where I'm going with that. A lot of good stuff.
Nobody asked you, Chris.
You were too slow. You got away from.
I'm not too slow. Okay, look at.
There we go.
Can you see me?
Ultra blurry.
Damn. So my wife got this for me for. Steve, can anyone hear that you're talking right now, or are we just awkwardly silent while we listen?
No, we're just awkwardly silent while you.
We got to get better because we're all just got quiet just because Steve's talking to us and nobody knows he's talking. No, that's fine.
Well, we could play. Zach could play Name That Species off your blurry icons.
I think it's a turtle.
Good guess. I don't know where the background thing is he's talking about.
Is that a serpentina? See a long tail. I don't know.
Well, they're starting to come into focus now a little bit. Oh, they're gone. Bye.
No?
I think we can move forward with the blurry book.
And keep moving to the side. Oh, we almost had it. All right.
I shut it. I shut the book. Now you're staring at my boobs.
Well, why don't you tell us what the book is?
I'll tell you what the book is. So the book is from 1857, and it is gorgeous. It has some of the most beautiful plates like ever. Yeah. And like to think about, like, this is before like the Civil War, and the animals in the book look amazing, like better than anything you could imagine even seeing. Like
even better than a Peterson's field guide drawing.
Yeah,
those are unbelievable.
They're amazing, and it's the original book. And my wife bought it for me for my birthday, and yeah.
I bought you a book for your birthday, and you turned it around. You turned it away.
No. You had an extra. You tried to give me.
No. I bought this book for you, and you said, I already have this book.
That is not even true. Just because you have it doesn't mean the story you made up is true.
Why do I need Turtles in Venezuela?
Maybe you're going to go to Venezuela. Maybe you need to know what you're going to see in the field.
I don't think I'm traveling anywhere with two kids anytime soon. It's tough to get to your house. It is. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So, Zach, I had written this species down before because I wanted to ask you about them. And when we were just talking before about one of the questions that you got, if there was something that you wanted to work with, but you're already working with Crassicolus, right?
Yes.
Black pond turtles. So, for anybody that doesn't know, for our animal management, we're trying to compile some species that we're going to focus on for Turtle Room projects. And I had reached out to our members to see what different species, we thought might be good, and I said they don't need to be endangered. Not everything has to be endangered. Not everything has to be threatened, and we, as the Turtle Room, we tend to focus on a lot of different things. Some of us have very common species. Some of us have species so rare you shake when you're holding them, but it's a nice broad spectrum. What is it about that species? Now, I already know from, talking a little bit through email about this. What is it about that species that you think is so important with them? Because you had brought up a good comment the other day in our chat about how, the trend is we wait for animals to reach an endangered status before we do anything about it, which is really, it's 2020 and it's kind of ridiculous that we're still doing that. We need to do something before the animal gets that status, right?
Correct. I 100% believe that. I believe that there should be some kind of, formulation or algorithm, whatever, that we as a group could compile it. Reproductive rate. How many eggs do they lay? Mm-hmm. Right? How often do they lay?
Right.
Do they house well in captivity? What is the importation rate, right? Are they just put in bags and shipped over here and shipped all around the world? Those are all really important things that I think we should focus on. So as Chrysocallis, using them as an example, they lay 1 egg to 2 eggs,
right?
Maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But the thing is, I know many people, not many, sorry, I know 3 other people that have them, and 2 people get eggs and they're never fertile.
I have a friend that's gone through that too.
Right. And there's 1 person that I know and 1 person that I've heard of that get eggs, but they get 2 eggs a year that are fertile, and develop, and then they'll go 4 or 5 years or 2 or 3 years
without anything,
no eggs at all.
Yeah.
And it's scary that there are many species that are like that.
Yeah.
They're so unreliable at reproduction, and in the wild would have such an absolutely almost 0 adult mortality rate, that not having a backup solution to that it's a death cry.
That's a great point to make there too, and you know what's you have an animal that's not laying that many eggs. Fertility is a mess, or not, or maybe there's just things that aren't understood about them yet. It's because nobody's really trying to understand them,
Yeah.
And if you single out the pet trade for a minute there, or the hobby, for someone who's got to make a living off them, they're not necessarily a good species to target, because there's no consistency. So there's that already. So there's that aspect where they're not getting the respect they deserve. Now you're getting it from everybody, really, because one trend that tends to be followed, whether you're a conservationist or a preservationist or both, or you're just in the hobby, or you're just part of an organization that's trying to save these things in situ, you do tend to get both sides focusing on a lot of the same species, something that's pretty, something that's coveted, when these other species that maybe they're just black, that deserve the same amount of respect as everything else, are falling to the wayside. So I really like that you had picked that species. I think that species, among many other species that are in the same boat in terms of reproduction or looks or lack of understanding their proper husbandry, they deserve more respect. They should be focused on in many different ways, whether it's conservation or not. You guys have anything to add to that?
Nope. Well said, buddy.
High five.
Nerd out about Chrysocallis real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I like them the most, they're incredibly delicate. They're hard keepers, but once you get them stabilized, they're I'm not going to say bulletproof, but they're pretty hardy. It's getting them stabilized is hard. They eat whatever you put in there. One good thing going for them is that they're not really edible. You can't really eat them because they contain so much mercury.
Wow.
The amount of mercury in them would kill us. So you can't eat them, so that's good that they're not actually eaten. And if they are, that's bad for the people, really bad. Another thing is that they have sex chromosomes. They have an X and Y like we do.
Wood turtles.
Yeah, right, exactly, like wood turtles.
I never knew that about them, so thank you for telling me that, because I that's one of the things that I always thought was incredible about wood turtles.
Yeah, and I thought that was my mind, because I think of, I just always thought of turtles being temperature dependent, and they don't have that. And Chrysocallis, I believe, are fairly primitive turtles. They're related to Latensis. It's the only other one in the genus. I know Latensis is very primitive. One thing that we don't know, though, is if Latensis has sex chromosomes. Because
do you think
Sabina, the Latensis lady, the Palauan lady, she handled the crisis over there. I emailed her a lot and talked to her a lot about it, and she doesn't even know. She's the only one to have fully documented and raised a captive bred and hatched a hatchling Latensis. But you can't determine anything off of one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that that just further backs it up that it's a great pick for a focal point because they're a species that needs it. We don't know anything about them, and Burmese stars. Okay, I know firsthand experience with them, and anybody else that's keeping them and breeding them will tell you was functionally extinct species. Okay, critically endangered. Right? They can't stop laying eggs and reproducing. Okay, once they get going, we got that one figured out. That's wow. So if we could do it with one species, or at least figure out the secrets behind them, then some of these other species deserve the respect and the attention to figure that out with them. So I think that's great. I just want to say real quick a couple closing remarks because I think it's starting to get a little late. I think what you're doing for us is awesome. I love it. Please keep it up with those educational posts. They're great. They're really awesome. I've learned a lot from it, and I can't wait to see the photos and hear how Madagascar goes because that's incredible that you're getting to go over there, So I don't know what happened to him. It looks like he went looking for his mailbag in another room or something.
I lost my mailbag.
He's gone. I don't know.
That's all right. So if I could just say, so anyone who wants to support Zach, the Turtle Room is helping support his trip there. We're very proud of that and excited about that. So if you're interested in supporting Zach and helping get him to Madagascar, which is happening regardless, but you can do that by donating to the Turtle Room. We're a 501c3, and if I can I figured out how to not blur my background. So
there it is.
Suck it, Leone. Can you see those?
Yeah, they look like turtles.
There is a collider there, and is that a common?
There's some musk turtles.
The boxy.
That reminds me of that Peterson field guide. Just those unbelievable realistic drawings. You used to drool over that book. When I was a kid, kind of still do. It's weird.
This is from 1857.
That's unbelievable.
It's like some of the best.
Oh yeah! Wow. Yeah, that's just
some of the best.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's a source of pride, and Jeremy asked about it. Jeremy asked a lot of questions. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to be able to share that. So, anywho. For anyone who's interested, the next episode will be April 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. We're looking to have potentially Yun-Ro back on, the turtle monk, because everything got messed up so much last podcast with the quality. We're hoping that this one was a little bit better for you guys, and we're going to have to check that out and make sure so that we didn't waste Zach's precious time. That's my biggest fear, is that we're having these guests on, they're wasting their time, in addition to the viewers. But, I mean, poor Zach has to sit here and sit through the whole thing. I mean, if it's really bad, then I suppose people could just turn it off. But Steve from the background said that people were really tuning in and staying tuned in.
I didn't think it was that bad.
No, we're going to continue fine-tuning things, and it's coming together.
And I mean mostly the back end, sure. like the recorded version and the streamed version. What we're seeing is pretty good. A couple echoes. We'll see. We're still working through it, and hopefully people, those of you who are watching, decide to kind of stick through it with us. So we really appreciate that a lot. And I think it's, when it's as like stark a thing as it's been, as obvious a thing as it's been for the last couple shows, there's nothing that you can do besides just owning up to it and being transparent in what we're trying to do to make it better. So that's where we're at right now. Thank you again. Thank you, Zach, so much. You've been an awesome guest. Sorry we kind of talked your ear off a little bit in the beginning, but it was great to get to know you better. We're super excited about what you're doing and super grateful for what you're doing. So thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Be safe out there. I guess don't eat anything.
Yeah. Bring a lot of beef jerky.
I need that.
There you go.
I need to go into Madagascar diet.
Michael Skip said when didn't he get really sick?
Did he? Oh yeah, I thought I remember him saying something like that in his talk. Did he?
Yeah.
Or he was talking about that afterwards. Well, hey, listen. Again, thank you. This was a lot of fun. This was great. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, you are listening to the Pondcast, the one and only podcast where a bunch of handsome men get together and talk about turtles. But maybe we'll be branching out a little bit, right? Maybe we'll be talking about some other things, like lizards and salamanders and snakes and cannibalism, whatever. Cooters.
I'd like to talk about why I didn't get the popcorn memo.
Well, you're not getting a popcorn memo until you learn that it's Minto's mailbox. It's not, I got a question from the chat.
Mailbag. You don't even know.
Well, that's going to be a debate then. Mailbag, mailbox. Minto's mailbox. Mailbag, yeah. Then you got to carry the mailbag.
Oh, what's that? It's Minto with his mailbag over there.
Minto with his mailbag over there.
Listen, I'll have a graphic up for next episode.
Graphic.
I'm not interested.
Mailbag. Jingle and mustache, please.
Mustache, you got it.
Mustache.
I'll add a mustache on.
How you doing, Kevin Minto? Good to meet you.
Hey, how's it going?
Let me check my mailbag real quick.
Listen, if you want to stay on here for like 30 more seconds, I can go make this into a mustache.
I keep my mustache in the mailbag.
Let's leave the suspense for April 6th. Let's see. Is Minto going to do it?
Listen, if I shave, my wife says I'll look like a Q-tip, so I don't know if that's going to happen.
I see it.
I see it. I really see it. I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
So gross. All right.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Bye, guys.